Good morning. Hand today is going to be ace-3 offsuit. We are under the gun, so I fold and we get small blind complete, big blind call. In looking at the notes, these are the same two players that limped or completed and then checked behind. So I could have gone back to the video, looked at what his range was, but I think this was pretty close to what we were playing. Basically maybe the ace 10 and the ace jacks, maybe those are going to be raises, but ace x hands, so I'm saying like something like that. We could narrow it down. So then you've got your ace x hands, you've got your king x suited hands, broadways, all that stuff, and we're just going to keep with this. This other guy, remember, we've got any two cards minus hands we think he would bet. He has called with like jacks and tens, so I'm gonna say queens plus ace king. That's gonna be 100% raising range, and then 50% of the time he's gonna be raising with ace jack, ace queen, jacks and tens, and we'll go from there. So another blind versus blind hand. Flop comes down 10-9-2. Draw. This time we've got our straight draw, two middle cards. More than likely can hit this guy. I mean, he's got any two cards. And of course, both players check. So both players check. I'm gonna go ahead and say maybe the straight here is gonna slow play. I think two pair is probably gonna slow play here. Top pair, I kind of feel like he's gonna bet, but again, he seems to be overly passive. So I'm just gonna say he's gonna check basically everything here. He's got 100% of his hands. This guy though checks behind. At that point, no, I don't think he's slow playing it. I think he's gonna be betting. We've already had a hand that just kind of went check, 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 check on this, so I'm gonna say he's probably betting top pair, middle pair, and if he doesn't have a hand, it's like he's not betting that. Would he have an open-ended straight? We're gonna scale that here. Open-ended straight draw. We're gonna say 50% of the time he would have bet, 50% he just would have checked it, and we're gonna go with that. So I think overall he's got 73%. I mean, most of his hands are going to be fairly weak. I think he should be attacking much the same way that they should have played in yesterday's review. Eight of clubs comes out, so now we add. Not only did the straight draw improve, and we can now have a straight, but we can have a flush draw now. That would be the advantage of mixing in two card backdoor flush draws. Villain 1 checks, villain 2 checks. So again, we're getting a check check here. At this point, I do think straight's betting. Even though he's being passive, I think the straight's going to be petting here. And at this point, two pair is probably going to be scared and is going to check. So let's eliminate the straight hands. So your jack queen and also 6-7. So we've eliminated those hands. This guy checks. Straight again eliminated. I think two pairs probably eliminated for him. I think it's weak pair, no pair. That's what we're dealing with. Probably not even the flush draw. Although we can scale that as well and just say about 50% of the time he would have bet that for the flush draw. So 91% of his hands still remains. 6 clubs comes out. We go check, check again. Yeah, this guy, nut flush, does not have that. 100%, I think he's betting that. Even as a passive player, I think he's betting that nut flush draw. Second nut flush draw, I think, is, say, sometimes he'll bet, sometimes he doesn't. Just because he's going to be scared of the nut flush that's out there. That's just kind of what passive players do. And then he's going to have everything else that's here. All right, finally get that down. So 97%. Is that what happened? Yep, he checks. They both check. Big surprise. Again, nut flush, 100% is going to bet that. I bet second nut flush is going to bet this too. Could he bet as a bluff? Let's go back. Did he bet as a bluff last time? Nope, just check, check, check. Had an opportunity. Didn't take it. So we're looking at straight, maybe. I do think straight's gonna be betting. I really do think straight's gonna be betting. Yeah, I think the flush is betting. Straight, maybe. We'll do the straight for 50%. So we'll say all of the flushes are betting. 50% of the straights are betting for him. Still, basically has most of the cards. So this is just going to be weak versus weak. And again, same thing holds without even looking at the cards. I don't like his limp or his complete in the small blind. He should be raising if he's going to play, and he could raise with pretty wide range. It forces villain 2 fold out some of his weak hands. If he doesn't, he's in a situation where he's got a lot of hands that are just going to miss the flop, and he can't continue. And even if he tries to continue with the flop, he's going to have to get rid of them sometime because he can't go to showdown with them. He can't go to showdown with, let's say, I mean, I guess you could, but like a Jack 5. You can't go to showdown with that. So, this guy should have raised. He didn't. He completed. Once he completed, this guy should be then attacking with most of his decent hands. Possibly even all of his suited hands, if you think about it. Just attacking him. But they didn't. So then on the flop, I understand kind of like a delayed. You could delay. You could check here, waiting to see. Especially if you hit something decent. You could check, see what villain 2 does. But on here, you're something decent. Even if you hit 2 pair, you still have a straight draw that's out there. You have backdoor. Really, it's a straight draw. So I think you want to start getting bets out there, and you want to start getting value from those straight draws. They're going to call. So a hand like 7-8, 7-8's going to call on that flop. Bet. He's going to call. You get value from that. 8 comes up. Did he complete a straight? No, he didn't. Bet again. He's gonna call you. And then the run out was a 6. And you could say, well, that's always happens. I bet. And they always hit their draw. Well, no, they don't. You just have a selective memory. You only remember those times that they miss because you see their hand. How many other times have you bet the turn, and it goes check, check. You show your hand, and he mucks. You don't get to see this hand. That's a lot of times they were drawing and they missed. But they're going to keep doing that. They're going to keep calling you. So, yeah, be aggressive. Once he checks the flop, though, he should be betting. Once he bets, he should defend a little bit more. So let's check out the hands. Hands, I think, are going to be pretty much junk here. King Jack, that's actually quite surprising that he has that. Has such a strong hand here. I do have that in like his range, believe it or not. And then Ace 8. So King Jack, I mean, had open ender. Not only did they have a gut shot, but then the 8 gave him an open ender. He missed value. The Ace 8. I mean, he's not gonna call. He calls the flop. Does he call the flop? Probably not. If he bets a flop, he folds. On the 8, if he bets the flop, he's probably calling the turn, but then he's going to follow it up with a river bet. And that is kind of, that would be a situation where you bet and you get called. You probably follow up with a bet here. It's going to be hard for ace high to call. Unlike last time where the board paired again, so you have 2 pairs on the board. Ace high calls because if you don't have a pair, it's basically your high card at that point. And if you have an ace, you kind of figure, well, I could be splitting this with another ace. Here, it's not so. You could say he's calling with the jack. He's calling You know, with a 10 jack, with a 9 jack, with an 8 jack. Draws came in on the river, both, you know, the 7, you know, basically the 10 high straight draw and the flush draw. So I think turn and river. So I think that's probably wraps it up. We're going to go ahead and kind of take another note here. Kind of adds to our knowledge bank. So if we see them again, we start to have a much better idea of what he has. And, you know, we've already seen it. So we check in big blind, ace dimes, 8 of hearts, in position BvB. Check, check, check. On a 10 of clubs, 9 of hearts, 2 of diamonds, 8 of clubs, 6 of clubs. All right. So took the notes. We talked about it. Similar situation. Be aggressive. This guy could have won the pot just by being aggressive. So hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another.